Good evening. International motorsport will roar back to life on the streets of Adelaide next year, with SA snatching the MotoGP from Victoria in a long-term deal.
Fans can expect high-octane thrills on a modified version of the original Grand Prix circuit, but it will come at a cost.
With a throttle twist over the footbridge, Adelaide is revving into MotoGP history.
To see motorcyclists travelling at over 340 kilometres an hour on the streets of Adelaide will be a spectacle unlike any other one that's gone before it.
The first ever MotoGP street circuit, a 6-year deal locked in with an option to extend for another 5. The 4-kilometre track winding through 18 turns, echoing much of the original Grand Prix layout with some modern safety tweaks.
It's fair to say that we haven't had to make absolutely any compromises on safety and on runoff areas.
There won't be a concrete barrier or an air fence in touching distance.
The 3-day event will hit the calendar just before the Supercars Grand Final. 7 News understands bosses of the event were briefed yesterday and will work with the government to ensure it's not compromised.
This is an ambitious project that doesn't come without challenges.
Phillip Island has been the race's home since 1989. Victoria wanted to keep it but wasn't prepared to move it to Albert Park.
By no account was Adelaide a second choice.
For Aussie star Jack Miller, it's bittersweet.
Phillip Island's been one of the favourites for a very, very long time in terms of riders. So, it is sad, extremely sad.
Victoria's Sports Minister revving up after suggestions Adelaide's becoming the nation's sports capital.
They're in kindergarten and we're in senior high school when it comes to major events.
Well, I just think it's a bit unbecoming. I've never believed that you talk yourself up by talking other people down.
After losing the Grand Prix to the Vics in the 90s, South Aussies get their revenge.
This is a big deal, and South Australians are right to be proud about the journey we're on. Thanks very much.
Michaela Kamarik, 7 News.
Michaela joins us now live. And Michaela, while the Premier enjoys his victory lap, not everyone's cheering him along.
Well, bringing the MotoGP to Adelaide is expected to deliver huge economic benefits, but critics are calling for more transparency on exactly how much the event is costing taxpayers. The opposition claims the Premier is so focused on headline-grabbing events that other important issues are being overlooked.
I would like to see the Premier just get a little bit better at multitasking though, because whilst events are fantastic for the vibrancy, we also need to focus on the important things as well, like the health system, which is crumbling.
There are also concerns about the impact on the parklands. To bring the track up to international safety standards, around 45 trees will need to be removed.
I think the loss of tree canopy at a time when we're facing significant pressures from climate change is crazy.
While residents in the eastern suburbs are bracing themselves for more traffic headaches, 2 major racing events in 1 month could make the daily commute a nightmare. Now, Rosanna, the Premier insists it's a small price to pay for putting Adelaide on the global sporting map.
All right, thank you, Michaela. A teenage boy accused of seriously assaulting a homeless woman outside the Mitcham Library may be tried as an adult. The youth court heard the boy was grossly intoxicated at the time of the alleged attack, which the prosecutor described as one of the most brutal she's ever seen. The woman's head was allegedly kicked and stomped on. She suffered a fractured eye socket, jaw and rib fractures and bruised inner thighs. It's also alleged the woman was attacked while she was unconscious.
The iconic Adelaide Ice Arena is facing criminal charges over a mass poisoning. Let's go live to Hannah Ford. Hannah, this follows a 2-year investigation.
That's right, Will. And now the operators are being taken to court, facing potentially a $1.5 million fine. More than 40 people were poisoned after being overcome by significant levels of carbon monoxide fumes back in February 2024. Many of the victims that ended up in hospital were ice hockey players here to compete in the Aussie Women's League. Safe Work SA today released a statement saying the gas came from arena machinery. It is alleged the company failed to ensure the ice resurfacer was safe to operate and failed to ensure adequate air monitoring at the workplace. At the time, the arena's managing director said it had installed alarms to better monitor carbon monoxide levels.
I definitely wouldn't have predicted something like this. We are very serious about safety here at the ice arena, and everybody's trained to do what they're supposed to be doing.
But since then, new management has taken over, today saying we have invested significantly in this much-loved Adelaide icon, including improving safety wherever needed. The Safe Work action has been lodged with the SA Employment Tribunal. A court date is expected to be set soon. Rosanna.
All right, thank you, Hannah. A man's been arrested over a $2 million blaze in the city, which has destroyed a family photography business. The inferno has also forced the closure of a school for young people with special needs.
11 p.m. on Chesser Street in the city.
What the hell's going on?
Ferocious flames devour the photography studio.
Whoa. Dang.
About 50 firefighters raced to battle the massive blaze.
It was way too dangerous to actually go in offensively into the premises, so all of our firefighting was undertaken external.
Floors in the multi-storey building collapsed.
The fire alarms only now come on?
Avalon City Imaging has been gutted.
It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. It's just completely gutted. There's nothing left but a shell and it's just all black.
Firefighters say 4 nearby buildings used by the specialised school for youth, but some have been damaged.
There is some flooding in the basements, particularly in 25, potentially 27, and some smoke damage, but that's all I really know at this stage.
150 students have been redirected to their secondary campus at Thebarton, which coincidentally was officially open today. Late today, police arrested a 31-year-old man who's expected to be charged with arson. One of the biggest concerns for the photographic business is that hard drives containing their images may have been destroyed.
And we'll get back to all our beautiful clientele as soon as we can and let them know what we can do from here, and hopefully we can help retrieve some of their gorgeous photos that they've had with us.
Peter Caldecott, 7 News.
A 4th person has been arrested after a daylight shooting in a northern suburbs street. Lauren Rose is live with the details. Lauren, police say the defendant is affiliated with a crime gang.
They do, Will, and they further allege that gang is currently at war with another group. The shooting happened outside a house on Lieberman Road at Para Hills in December. A bullet was fired into a parked car. At the time, a 20-year-old man was arrested and charged with a firearms offence, and 2 other people for hindering police, including aspiring rapper Trex Domenis, seen here in a music video filmed at the Lieberman Road address. Last night, a 4th person, 26-year-old Abdul Alizé, was taken into custody. He is accused of aggravated affray and failing to answer investigators' questions, and was refused bail after the court heard the gun used still hasn't been found. Prosecutors claimed there's a real risk it could be used in another crime. Rosanna.
All right, thank you, Lauren. A man's been arrested over a crash at Tumby Bay that claimed the life of a 64-year-old Cleve woman. She was a passenger in a hatchback which collided with a ute on the Lincoln Highway yesterday. The 73-year-old driver of the ute has now been charged with causing death by dangerous driving. He'll face court next month.
Health has again been the focus for the Liberal Party today, announcing plans to set up 5 transition centres to help patients who are ready to leave hospital but still waiting for long-term care. They're committing $68 million to create 250 beds, with 3 centres earmarked for the city and 2 in the country.
We do know that bed block is a really big issue, and this is part of our plan to help unblock our health system.
The government has described the policy as vague and uncosted.
On the eve of the Fringe Festival proper, hundreds have gathered in Rymel Park for the Gluttony Gala.
Gertie's at the venue, and Gertie, it's a sneak peek of what's on offer.
Well, from tomorrow night till March 22nd, the East End will be transformed into a wonderland for the arts. But tonight, the gala is all about showcasing the very best and what's on offer here in Gluttony. There are 200 shows across 16 spaces. Some are new, others are old favourites brought back by popular demand. You'll find roving performers every night of the festival too.
There really is something for everyone, no matter what your price point is and the kind of experience you want to have.
The dining experience has also been expanded. You'll still find your favourite street food vendors, but this year there are 2 pop-up restaurants to choose from on Champagne Island, as well as a free sculpture walk, a visual feast for the eyes. Now, weather-wise, it is set to be a warm start to the Fringe Festival, but we could also expect some showers, possibly a thunderstorm too over the weekend, but I'll have more on that in the full forecast after sport, Will.
All right, we'll catch you a little bit later, Gertie. A Sydney man is tonight behind bars accused of making threats to kill Federal Treasurer Jim Chalmers. The 55-year-old was charged yesterday after allegedly making threatening calls to the MP's office this month. Police uncovered gel blasters and slingshots at his home. He's been refused bail.
The case for the Reserve Bank to cut interest rates hasn't been helped by the latest jobs figures. The unemployment rate remains steady at 4.1% through January. That result unlikely to reduce the current upward pressure on rates.
I don't expect that there's any surprises for the RBA in terms of our jobs market.
The Reserve Bank Board will make its next decision on the cash rate next month.
The Prime Minister says he has nothing but contempt for the group of ISIS brides trying to return from a Syrian camp with their children. But despite his refusal to help, the government may have no choice but to let them in. What's more, convicting and jailing them when they return could prove impossible.
Celebrating Chinese New Year, turning dumpling designer marking the year of the horse.
Can I get a job if this politics thing doesn't work out?
After ramping up the politics thing to maximum about the ISIS brides.
I have nothing but contempt for these people.
These people being the 11 brides, he clarifies, not the 23 children they're trying to bring back with them.
I have contempt for their parents who have put these children in that situation.
Though providing them passports, he says, a legal obligation, denying any other help to get them home.
What would your approach be if you were PM in this whole situation with the ISIS brides?
Shut the door.
3 words
Shut the door.
used 7 times.
Day one. Shut the door. They should shut the door. We need to see this government shut the door.
The government has placed a temporary exclusion order on one ISIS bride.
Why not elsewhere? Why not for others?
Because the law sets a high bar, a law introduced by the Morrison cabinet Angus Taylor served in, one never intended to exclude ISIS families from returning to Australia, just to keep a close eye on them when they did.
On an effective parole type arrangement, which would mean that we could keep them under close monitoring, reporting and surveillance.
Laws his party is now criticising as inadequate.
If it is the case that our laws allow ISIS fighters or their supporters to come back to Australia, then the laws need changing.
There's been some pretty silly behaviour from the opposition, hypocrisy. They're complaining now about laws that they voted for.
Since 2013, about 80 ISIS fighters, brides and children have returned and only 10 have been charged. The number convicted and jailed, the AFP says, unknown.
You have to be able to prove the case beyond reasonable doubt, and you have to collect that evidence from countries like Syria.
Not an easy task. Mark Riley, 7 News.
8 backcountry skiers are now confirmed dead after being buried by an avalanche in the Northern California mountains. The group was being led on a 3-day expedition near Lake Tahoe when a powerful winter storm moved through. Search crews battled blizzard conditions to rescue 6 survivors.
They had some equipment with them trying to not only stay warm, but they had medical issues as well.
1 skier remains unaccounted for.